So
It's wild.
Eve asked me a question. She said, she wanted to have a piece of music that she could perform, in which there would be something about Hannukah that wouldn't necessarily be infantile, because there's so much about Hannukah, dreidel, kemach min hasak, all that kind of stuff. That for it's nice, it's not, don't have any tiness that it shouldn't be, but what's going on here? This is off. This. No, we are ready? Yes. So the question was, do you know an adult niggun for Hannukah? So the closest we could get, and it's still not adult, it's adolescent, is Mi Yemalel Israel, right? And it's good. So since I'm collecting these times nigunim that I remember from before the Shoah yet, here is one that Abba Olav Hashalom used to sing for Mos Sur. Chassidische niggun, you can see the kind of niggun mevaikt in them. It's an easy to soak in niggun. We sing Mos Sur only one stanza really, that's the Hannukah stanza. But Mos Sur deals with all the Yom Tovim. It has Pesach and everything else in there. So the translation that they had up to now, which was children of the martyr race, chained or fettered, or something like that. So I wanted to make another translation that would be closer to the Hebrew, and that would have the acrostic of the author, whose name was Mordechai. And Chazak, of course, is the last stanza of that. So here's the niggun first, because I'd like to repeat it when the others are here, but then you can help along. I die, 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 I die, 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 I die, da, I die, da, did dum, I did die, dum, I did die, dum, I die, da, did ya da, dum. I die, die, I die, die, I die, 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 I die, die, I die, 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 I die, 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 I die, die, da, 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 da. I'm always seeing Yeshiusi. Lechono ve'leshabeyav tikoim beis tefilusi v'sham toidon zabeyach aleyes dochin madbeyach mitzovo hamna beyach ovazeg moyer v'shir mizmoyer Hannukah samizbeya. It's a wonderful thing. And you have to imagine that this is a niggun that one would sing when you look at the Hannukah candles burning. I think I told you that last time, or maybe I didn't, that I was with the Baba Rebbe once when he was lighting candles and sat there in silence before the candles, or they were singing or something, but no talk, because it's Elo Liroisam Bilvad, just to pay. That's so not the verbal usual way of things, to say contemplate, right? Elo Liroisam Bilvad. So I wanted to bring to you both the Shabbos stuff, both the Gemara Shabbos that I have here on this sheet. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. I'm already in Shabbos, yeah. On this sheet that you have here that begins with Amar Rab Huna.
We need one for Orna.
Do you have another copy? Yeah, give her of each, one copy of each. Good. And I think I want to just bring to your attention this sheet, but not for long. I'll wait to do that again if other people will come. I don't want to have to do it twice. Here you see an Al-Hanisim. It's a little different than the Al-Hanisim that you have in the Siddur. I didn't like the fact that we would say B'mei Matisya ben Yochanan Shvanoi Kisham Dalei Malchus Yovan Harsha'ol, because Yovan wasn't all riches, but it's Malchut Antiochus Harasha, okay? Ubikish Lakoret Munatenu V'Datenu, etc., etc. And then it ends up by saying Lahodat Lachavin V'Inhigu Latet Tzedakah La'aniyim Chanukah Geld V'Shashuim LaYeladim. So I just wanted to make sure that this would be a contemporaneous Al-Hanisim. Just the same way as I did with the Al-Hanisim for Thanksgiving, you know, B'mei HaMehagrim Nekiyei Hadat, in the day of the pilgrims who were the Puritans. You can see how that would fit together, right, in our expression. So, Amar Reb Huna. So I went to the Gemara in Shabbos, where the whole issue of Hannukah comes out. And if you want to go to any Hasidic or Midrashic interpretation of depth of Hannukah, you will find that there are certain words that will keep coming up. Hanocha osa mitzvah, hadloka osa mitzvah. You know, how is the mitzvah to be achieved? Where does it come from? And so on and so forth. So, we are beginning with that part that's in Bameh Madlikin, the second chapter of the Gemara Shabbos, where it talks about what kind of oil and what kind of wick you can use on Shabbos. And the question is, why is it a problem? First of all, it's a problem simply that you have to set up and say, welcome, welcome. That you have to say, what right have we got to have any light on Shabbos? Because b'chol moshvotechem lo, you know, there shouldn't be any lo tevaru eish b'chol moshvotechem. So what's that? So then they had to come and to create a situation, Asher Kedishanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbos kodesh, and that's for the sake of shalom bayis in the house. And then you have two, one for shomer and one for zocher, and they built this whole business up. And that's very nice. But what do they find problematic about it? If you live in a time when you don't have electricity, and the likelihood is you don't even have candles. So you have little oil lamps. They look like teapots, and they have a wick coming out, and you often have to mess with it to make sure that oil and wick will stay together. And that's called that yate. Yate, he will turn, and the whole question is shema yate. We don't want there should be any messing with the oil or with the wick. So Bameh Madlikin, that whole chapter goes into that. Then Reb Huna says, Petilot ushmanim she'amru chachamim ein madlikin bahem b'Shabbat, ein madlikin bahem b'Chanukah, bein b'Shabbat, bein b'chol. Amar Rava, ma tamed Reb Huna? Why is Reb Huna so strong, saying that it's like Shabbos candles? Kosovar, because he claims kavta, when the Hanukkah candle has gone out, has been extinguished, zakukla, he has to relight it. And if he has to relight it, then you have to make sure that the oil in the wick should be such good stuff, because otherwise Shabbos he will come and mess with that. And that's the reason why he has to have it at the same level as Shabbos. Umutar lehishtamesh le'ora. The whole reason for the Shabbos candles is that it shouldn't be dark in the house, that people should feel comfortable and loving toward each other and not stumble around. For us, a Shabbos table that would last till midnight was a thought that wouldn't occur to people who have just little oil lamps to lighten up a dark house. So it's very clear that you had to use the light that you create and see by it something.
As opposed to the K-rites.
Huh?
The K-rites. Kraim, the K-rites. So the K-rites. No, I'm saying the K-rites have their meal before Shabbat.
Oh, the Karite.
Karites.
Yeah, sorry. Karites. Yeah. Okay. I was looking crazy-platey. Okay.
So, if I'm not mistaken, they don't light, is that right? And they eat before Shabbat, and then it's darkness, go to sleep.
But that's right. That's the problem that comes out yet from way back, from Anan, who wanted to be the Gaon, the Nasi, and then Rav Haigoin took it over, and so therefore there was a split that had politics and everything else, but the Sadducees were in the same boat before because they didn't like what the Chachamim had innovated, the renewal people of that time. So good. So the question is, can you use the light or can you not use the light? And if you compare it to the Shabbos candles, and if you say Kavta Zakuklo, it's also necessary that you should be able to use that light to do things by. Okay? So, mutar l'ishtamish lo, Rav Chisda Omar madlikim behem bechol, aval lo b'Shabbat. Why? Because kafta ein zakuk lo, umutar l'ishtamish lo. If it has gone out, you don't need to light it again, and it's okay to use its light. Omar Reb Zere, Omar Reb Masne, Omar le Reb Zere, Omar Rav, Petilot. ושמנים שאמרו חכמים אין מדליקים בהם בשבת, מדליקים בהם בחנוכה. בין בחול, בין בשבת. So he is Michael here, and he says it isn't so strict. Apparently he goes that kafta lo zakuklo. One has gone out, he does not have to relight it again. And then it goes on, Amar Rab Yirmiyah, my Tamed Rav. What does Rav think? What make him come to that conclusion? Because his underlying theory was Kasavar. He thought Kavta ein zakukla, v'asur leishtamesh leora, and that's how we remain today. Kavta lo zakukla, v'asur leishtamesh leora. Therefore, ein lanu reshut leishtamesh bahem elo lirotam bilvad. Have you got that basic thing? Okay. Now, I just want to show you how important it is to know the rabbinic language, which is, in this case, Nera dush ptilot, ptilot shemanim, shamachom ein madlikim ben b'shal, madlikim ben b'Hannukah. I translate it now into Chabad. Nero Shem Nishmas Adam. What are we talking about? The light? That's the Neshama. Okay? And if that's the case, how do we relate to that Ner? So, Shabbos is a whole other inyan, because then we have a Neshama Yesera, and it's like the two candles already, and we are in a much higher place at that time. So, therefore, that has to be so that from the point of Shamorit Yom HaShabbos Lekadsho, you have to make sure it's really clean, that your neshama is clean, that your goof is clean, that you're washed before Shabbos, you're prepared, because that's how the Shabbos. If people think Shabbos candles is only on the outside, Shabbos candles on the inside. you know. And my guf is the petila, and my neshama is the shemen, and ner Hashem nishmat adam, and that's Shabbos candles. But what happens? You're in a situation of mesirat nefesh. Because Bikshu La'akeres Menosenu, they wanted to get rid of Yiddishkeit. So if they were about to do that, and what did they do? So the Kohanim, the Hashmonaim got up and Mesiras Nefesh, and they were ready to die for it, and so on and so forth. That is in extreme situations where you have to go al Kiddush Hashem. For Kiddush Hashem, you don't have to be a great tzaddik. You don't have to have the body prepared. You don't have to have the neshama prepared, you know. And that's Ner Hannukah, okay? So therefore he says, got that? That the Petilot Ushmanim that are necessary for Shabbos are not necessary for Hannukah. And out of that comes a thing that goes to the point of where Rav Kook was, when he was saying that the people who are going to do Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, you know, they may not be in Shabbosdik and Nerot, you know, the Shmanim and the Petilot were in Shabbosdik. They were plain Vochadik, Hannukahdik, yeah? But look what they did, and that, you know, etc., etc. So you see that there's drush coming out just of a line of halacha, and that's the reason why I want to learn this language, so that when we learn subsequent things, it'll make sense, okay? Amru Rabbanan kame da Abaye mishmei da Rabbi Yirmiyah v'lo kibla. They, you know, so you have to understand what that's like. You know, I get sometimes so, how would I say, achy over the fact that Iraq is now Judenrein. When I think we were there before the Islam came. And we had these academies there, and there was all this wonderful stuff happening. And every once in a while, when you allow yourself, when you learn a shtickl Gemara, to really imagine how did it happen there, you know, because you read it in Vilna Talmud with the Otiyot, you don't quite see what's happening. But here he tells you something. So the Chacham were sitting around, and there was Abaye was presiding, and they were telling him in the name of Rabbi Yirmiyah, and Abaye said, I don't buy that. Ki ata Ravin, amru Rabbanan kame da Abaye. When Rabin finally came, they said this before Abaye, mishmei da Rabbi Yochanan. Once he gave it in the name of Rabbi Yochanan B'Kibla. And then he repeated it. Then he accepted it. Amar, he said, Izakai, if I had been really meritorious, Gamirte lishmatel mikara, I would have learned this teaching right from the beginning, this Mishnah. V'ha gamra, but he did learn it. V'ha gamra, but he did gamira, you know, gemara. He did learn it. Nafkemine. But there's a difference. Legirsa de Yankuse. Did you hear that expression? Girsa de Yankuta. Mm-hmm. That means the learning that happened when you were still a Yanik, a child, a suckling child. Mm-hmm. And when you want to say of something that you got with your mother's milk, you would say, that's my Girsa de Yankuse. That's, you know, they're using this language. It's just a wonderful sense and gives you a feeling of what it's like to raise children out with Girsa, the Yankuta. The Kriyat Shema that I used to do with Yotam before going to sleep. And he would love to go Lishuatcha Kivite Hashem, Hashem Lishuatcha Kivite, to do all 6 permutations of that and figure it out. And, you know, and the Lobim Here Yishkach, that's not going to be forgotten, okay? All right, next shtikala. Kavta ein zakukla. You have made the statement before that when the candle went out, you don't have to relight it. Zakuk, he is still connected with it in obligation. Vereminu. And so we oppose this. Mitzvata mishetishka chamat shatichla regel menashuk. The mitzvah of that is to light it so it should burn so long until the leg will no longer be on the street. Okay, I want to make this really strong. Okay, ve'at kama. So how do we know how to estimate what is ad shetichle regel min hashuk until when foot walkers no longer are around the street? Amar Rabbi Bar Chana, Rabbi Bar Chana said, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says the name of Rabbi Yochanan, ad de kalya ragla de Tarmudai, until the feet of the last peddlers, the Tarmudai peddlers, will have gone. So it's almost like the end of the day, they're dragging their push carts home, and that's about the time. Why is that necessary? Because the whole point of Hannukah candles is Mishum Pirsum Nisa, and to whom are you going to go and advertise the miracle is being done when nobody walks on the street anymore? But watch this. By setting the terminus, Ad shetichle regel min hashuk, and that is the ragle de Tarmudai, from that we get a very interesting thing again on the next level. What is it that can consume the feet? I'm giving you that in a literal translation. Shetichle regel min hashuk. What will that be that can get the feet off the street? Which in my language I would say, what is necessary so that we should no longer be in the hergel of the shopping mall? Okay? So the Pirsum Nisse has to give us light until we no longer will be in the hergel of the shopping mall. Okay? Another thing is going on. When Eve and I went to see this guy to help us lose weight, Flanagan, and he did this magic to take away from us the chukka, the passion for something like this. But what else was still left? The hergel. Okay. Ad shetichle regel min hashuk. So for this you need to have the Hannukah light, which is therefore ein lanu reshut lishtamesh behem elo lirotem bilvat. It is haneret halalu kodesh hein. You get all that music. That's why it's so wonderful when you get into the language. So many things begin to shine. Yeah. Go.
I'm hearing an interesting twist because the way the Gemara sets it up is that Pirsum Hanes. Okay, so you look up at the window, you see the Hannukah. Wow, I remember it's Hannukah. I remember the Nes.
Yeah.
But what you gave, what I'm hearing is it's slightly different. The light of the Hannukah draws you out of the Hergel.
Right.
Right. So it's a guiding light.
Right.
Not just the light is pulling you rather than the light coming to you. Right. It's
then
pulling
we have
you.
to. Once we go back again to what happened in the Beis Hamikdash with lighting that light, finding that, and where do you go inside to find the cruse of oil, the Chot Moshe Kohen Gadol. You see, all these things are so suggestive when you get into the language. So let's do a little bit more with the language, and then we can take off, okay? Tone Rabbanon, Mitzvah Hannukah ner ishu beito. The mitzvah of Hannukah is one family, one candle. Ve'hamehadrin ner lechol echad ve'echad. This is so wonderful because I can't stop just on the level of the pshat because so many things start occurring to me as I'm saying that. Take a look. Who was a citizen, a human being, a persona, yeah? In Athens, a persona was a free person, the head of the household. Ishu Beito, it was like the farmer in the dell, all the way down to the mouse and the cheese. He is the one, he is the person, and all these other things are peripheral to him. So, as one way of looking at that is Mehadrin is Ishu Beito. When you are going, V'hamehadrin, V'hamehadrin ner l'chol echad ve'echad. And now we say, no, the kids are also mentioned, you know. You have to count that they also have a light to shine, okay? V'hamehadrin min hamehadrin. And now we come Beit Shammai Omrim. But before we go to that, when you look at the Hechsher in Israel, you'll find sometimes if it says Vlad, kosher, you know, la mehadrin min ha-mehadrin. And what this is to say that the people who are so absolutely meticulous about it, even Reform Jews in America are mehadrin min ha-mehadrin according to this thing, which means that Beishamay b'yom rishon madlik shmona, mikan velach pochet v'holech, ובית הלל אומרים יום ראשון מדליק אחת, ומכאן ואילך מוסיף והולך, period, okay? So the fact that you go 1, 2, 3, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little candles, you know, and you go up this thing, or you come down, in either case, Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel will have to talk about what behind the machloikis, but you can already imagine what is going on here. Whatever you know about Hillel, and what you know about Shammai, and why Hillel says you build up, and Shammai it makes, you know, the stuff that starts bubbling in the head is wonderful. Okay,
but this is mehadrin min mehad.
Yeah,
that the mitzvah is just to light one candle.
That's right.
Okay.
That was a lovely comment you made then. Even the Reform.
Yeah, but
everybody's mehadrin min ha-mehadrin.
That's what I'm saying.
Whichever way Shammai or Hillel.
Right. That's what's so beautiful, to be able to as a Sanegoria on Israel. If anybody has any tinnitus, you know, and you want to say Klal Yisrael has accepted Hannukah candles now in such a way that we're all mehadrin min ha-mehadrin about that. And that's beautiful. Okay. Now they want to talk about what's going on. Why does Hillel and Shammai have different attitudes about it? Got that? Amar Ula, plige bei trei Amorai bemarove. In Eretz Yisrael, there were 2 Amoraim. In other words, he's talking, it's interesting, Israel is called at the west, because it's the west of Babel, right? And Rabbi Yossi bar Ovi and Rabbi Yossi bar Zvida, both of them belong to the Talmud Yerushalmi, and that's why he say plige Amorai bemarove. Chad Amar Tamed Beis Shammai keneged Yamim hanichnasim. Beis Shammai keeps on saying you always have to look forward to the future. So when the first night you're looking forward to 8 days, and as it counts down, da da di da 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 da, and Beis Hillel goes da 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 da, and you see that there's a difference here. Tama de Beis Hillel keneged Yamim hayotzim. Okay. This is again, you know, you can see 2 attitudes about how to be religious. One attitude is strip it down, strip it down, strip it down. Bo chavakuk behemidan al achad tzadik b'manasa yichya. You know, you go down all to the most essential, to the single thing that there is. On the other hand, you get the other people who say, Mehadrin, Mehadrin, you know, goes, how can I do greater Hidur mitzvah? What else can I add? The mashal I like to give is, if you have a dinner in which you have invited your boss. So the boss is due to come 6 o'clock for dinner. By 6 o'clock you have everything set on the table just right. You know, everything is clear, and you leave it as it is. If your lover comes for dinner, then 5 to 6 you're still fussing around. You know, should I a flower here? What else can I do? You know, do you understand? It doesn't go. It's like the difference between din and minhag. You know, din you feel you're so compelled, and minhag has a sense of where you do Hidur Mitzvah, and and it's not finished. It's not finished. Okay. So you have here this thing that he's saying. You have Keneged Yamim HaYotzim, Keneged Yamim HaBaim, and then V'chad Amar Tamad Beis Shammai Keneged Parei HaChag. Now that's interesting because there is something about Hannukah and Sukkot that goes together. And for instance, on Hannukah we are going to do, because of Zot Hannukah Tamizbeach, we're going to read the Nesiim every day, what the Nesiim brought into to the Mishkan. So the same way, when we were offering the Parei HaChag for the 70 nations, we begin with 15 and we go down to 7, so that by the time you add it all up, it is 70, and you go and you diminish that. Some people have given that a very, not such a nice thing, On the one hand, I could say, V'atem tiyu li mamleches kohanim v'goy kadosh, you are a holy priesthood, and therefore you have to bring keneged keneged shivim umot, because you bring it in order to pray for the benefit of all the nations in the world, and that's a beautiful thing. But along comes the other thing. We are making sure that there should always be less and less of them and more of us, okay? Yes?
I did have that question about the Sukkot Hanukkah connection, like that Hanukkah was really part of the Sukkot celebrations.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular detail of the connection and texture when that was so?
I have forgotten it.
Sefer Maccabeim.
Huh?
In Sefer Maccabeim.
Yeah, go on.
Sefer Maccabeim, it says that because of the war, they couldn't keep Sukkot.
No, I know that part, but I'm asking what was it like when it was together?
Oh, when it was actually together?
Yeah, that's what
No, I don't think it was
I
It
don't
was
together.
think
only
it was
that
after
first
this.
year. No, I thought the whole point was that they couldn't, the temple was defiled and it got attacked, so they couldn't celebrate Hanukkah on time.
Couldn't celebrate
Sukkot.
Sukkot.
And so that it was later, but I want to know what it was like when it was together.
I don't understand the question.
Before Hanukkah happened, it
It never
was
happened.
never together because
No, but there was some kind of Hanukkah ceremony. I know I came across that.
I don't get it. My ears, I didn't put my ears in. Go ahead, say it louder.
The Hanukkah, the thing that they were celebrating when they finally got into the
Yeah.
temple, okay, it was late. Wasn't it?
Well,
That's what we
first-
always learned.
First of all,
So I'm confused now.
that year they may not have been able to celebrate Sukkot in the Beis Hamikdash. That's
Right.
clear, because by that time the battle hadn't been finished, and so on. So it took a few more months to do that.
I know, so my question is,
Yeah.
before all that,
Yeah.
when it was together, Sukkot,
What was together?
there was never any ceremony that was connected to Hanukkah Tabayit in Sukkot?
Oh, that Chanukah Hamishkan.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah, yeah.
asking about.
Well, that's the whole point when we have Shmini Atzeret, etc., etc.
So that's where it's holding it?
That's the closing of that part. But then there's in the tradition there's a whole other thing that goes with it.
Yeah.
For instance, it says if you should do tshuva before Rosh Hashanah. If you haven't gotten it, you got time till Yom Kippur. You still have time till Hoshana Rabbah, and then finally all the way down to Chanukah. And it says that tzaddikim get their good year right away. Beinanim is a little bit later. Rishoim is all the way up to Chanukah. So there was this Yidel in Abachai. One of the things I did when I came to America, I was the breadwinner for a family because I had learned how to be a furrier, and my parents only had a store, and we couldn't build a store right away. So I used to go work in the fur district on 27th Street, 7th Avenue, So I'm working in a shop. In comes a Yidele, a refugee, peddling from shop to shop, chocolates and notions and so on and so forth, trying to make a living because he's just arrived here and is trying to build his life. He came into the shop there, and one of the guys in the shop was not nice to him. So as he's going out, he says to this man, "Alles Gute," everything good. How you wish each other on Rosh Hashanah, "Alles Gute." So the guy says, "It's closely to Hannukah. What are you saying, Alles Gute, as if it were Rosh Hashanah?" So he says to him, because to a Rosh you can say Alles Gute all the way to Hannukah. But you see, in order to dig that, you have to understand, you have to be in that culture. All right, let's continue. And Hillel doesn't come up as interesting. Beis Shammai needs to have an asmachta from the pasuk to say Poreachag. You see, it's in the Chumash already. And Hillel says, never mind, Malin bekodesh vein moridin. In things having to do with kedusha, you go on up and up. In my fragments of a future scroll, I have a shtickle essay there that goes like this about the difference how Western religion or Judaism versus Eastern religion about something. In Eastern religion, there's a story that some people had to go and cross a river. No, the Buddha had to go and cross a river. So he made himself a raft and crossed the river with the raft. But it would have been very foolish for him to have to carry the raft after he has crossed the river. So the mashal is all the puja, all the religious effort that you put in, the spiritual effort, is like the raft. But once it gets you across the river, you can drop it. Okay. The Maggid of Mezrich comes with a different story. A person is traveling to the king. So on the way, he's wearing schmutzige clothes, the clay gola silach, and they're not very fancy clothes that he has. But when he comes to the palace, he starts to be mekashet. He gets himself ready to do it better. And that's why it says, Usvivav nisare me'od, was close to the Rebbeinu Shalom, he's checking kechut hasara. Therefore, the holier you are, the more meticulous you have to be, okay? So here you have a difference of these two things. Another thing comes up that people are saying, what is all the religious effort for? And they say it is to get you up there like the raft. But once you've gotten up there, the effort isn't necessary. And so the whole religious business is only to get you there. When I look at Judaism, I would want to say the religious business begins after we have gotten there. So remember you were at Sinai. Remember you were in Mitzrayim. Remember, why is that? Because lo bechol zman itrachesh nisa. Not every time does a miracle occur. But when you get involved in the miraculous order of things, you want to create sociems, ways of doing things in society that should be zecher le Yetzias Mitzrayim, zecher to that, so that the zikaron can come back every year, again and again. So for us, the mitzvahs come after Har Sinai, and not in order to get to Har Sinai. Okay, I think that's an interesting distinction. I'm mentioning here because in the end you have to say Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim chayim, just as with Hillel and Shammai. But I wanted you to see connections here. We continue. Tonu Rabbanan, ner Hannukah mitzvah lahanicha al petach beito mibechutz. So you are to leave it near the door on the outside. Im hayadar ba'aliyah manichem bechalon asmucha l'rshut harabim. And that's when you walk through the streets in Yerushalayim. This is so wonderful. Every mirpesed and so on and so forth. When you go into Mea Sharim, you will find these little menorahs at the door, glass enclosed with a little chimney in there, and that's really Pilsum Menisse, Ner Hannukah Mismol, and Mezuzah Miyamin, and that's how they do it. So, B'shas Haskana, Manicha al Shulchano. And do I remember that, the kind of Hannukah that we had to do after Hitler came. Vidayo, and it's enough. You know, at least you should remember, even Bisman Sakone, that there is a miraculous order. Okay? Amar Rava, Tzarich ner acher lishtamesh l'ora. You need to have a shamus there. If you have to do anything in that room, you cannot claim that you cannot use especially the light of the Hanukkah candles. You have to have something else to give you light. V'ike medura, and imagine now you have a situation like in a teepee, where in the center of the teepee there is a fire burning, and that's, you see by it and you cook by it and you do all that kind of stuff. There's a heart there. Then lo tzarich. Vi adam chashuvu, aval gav de ike medura tzarich ner acheret. In order to show that the Adam Chashuv deserves an extra candle, that should be the shamas. Now, this is so wonderful because after having said the whole geschäft about the details of Hanukkah, says, my Hanukkah. What's Hanukkah? Now, you got to remember that at the time when this was said, Megillas HaChashmonayim was out there. And there is something funny about Megillas Chashmonayim. It goes something like this. There is a general by the name of Bagris. And one of the Chashmonayim comes in there with a knife. And he holds up the knife and then begins a soliloquy for 5 minutes to God when he's saying, I'm doing this and you ought to help me, and finally plunges the knife. All during this time, Bagris is standing like this. You know what I'm saying? The notion of describing it in such a way that is so melodramatic shows you that this is a hafrazah. It couldn't have been that way. The likelihood is that all that stuff, the prayer stuff, was put in afterwards, but the knife was put in first. There, okay? Now, and you got to remember who pays the scribe. This week there comes the business about how the Pentagon is paying money to people in Iraq to write nice things. Okay, so you can imagine who wrote the Megillas HaChashmonayim. Most probably somebody who got paid by the Chashmonayim to write Megillas HaChashmonayim, and there, Hein bechol dor yakum hagibor goel ha'am, and you have the whole geschäft done with this kind of attitude. Now, the Chachomim know about that, and then they say, my Chanukah, okay? The Tanu Rabbanon, b'chav hei b'Kislev yom da Chanukah t'manya inon. From the 25th of Kislev, the days of Hanukkah are 8. The lol and misbit behon, the lol is hanas behon. It's so interesting right away. When the Chachomim tell you something, right away it has a halachic geschäft to that. So you don't fast on those days, and you don't have a hesped. And then he says, later on, and all this is because shekashenichnesu Yevanim lehechal timu kol hashman shebehechal. And with shemen that is tameh, you mustn't light the holy menorah. Ukeshegavra malchut beit Chashmonai unetzachum, when they overcame them and they were victorious, batku velo matzu ela pach echad shel shemen shaya munach bechotmo shel kohen gadol. And this is so wonderful. It's like today when you buy some Tylenol, you know, you not only have one seal, you have several seals to show it wasn't tampered with, you know. And so this oil makes it clear this wasn't tampered with, still has the seal of the Kohen Gadol. Now, again, you know, when you want to say this is oil that has the seal of the Kohen Gadol in it, and you can imagine now Kohen Gadol going into the base, into the Kodesh Kodeshim, you know, what Kohen Gadol meant for them, and this is oil that comes from that Yom Kippur place, and how wonderful. Okay, וכשגבר מלכוס בית חשמל נסוחם, בודקו ולא מוצא אלא פחד של השם שאמונה בחוזמה של כהן גדול, ולא היה בו אלא להדליק יום אחד. So, you can go with that again. It's Yom Kippur Dike oil. Yom Kippur is one day. Yom Kippur is the day of oneness, atonement, the whole Geschäft. And the oil is just for that. Nase bones, v'idliku mimenu shmona, yami. And they were able to light from that one for a whole octave of days. And I like that thing to think of octave. There is something that is completed in an octave, okay? L'shana acheret, and then we come to this thing, what happened the next year, because they didn't do Hannukah the first year when they lit the menorah. Kavum v'asom yamim tovim b'halel u'behoda'ah. So that we should say hoda'ah, which is ala nisim, and Hallel, that we should say Hallel, and whole Hallel at that point. Stop. I'm sorry I can't remember his name yet. There is a German Bible scholar, theologian. It would be so wonderful if Rabbi Victor were here. He would tell me the name right away. And he calls it the Myth and Ritual School. The Myth and Ritual School. And these people were asking for each shtikala that comes in and was used in ritual, what was the likelihood how they did that, okay? Now, when do you think that the Hallel come into being? The first time. So I would want to tell you that there is a wonderful description in Tanakh how King Yeshayahu, he had found the Deuteronomy scroll, or maybe the whole Torah, depending who you're going to ask. And he is bringing together the leftover of Yisrael and the people from Yehuda, and he is making a Pesach, and it says like such a Pesach hasn't been there before, and he had to delay it also because it was done on Pesach Sheni. They couldn't get it all together for the first Pesach. So they're celebrating Pesach in Yerushalayim. A reconstituted choir of Levites, that he's trying to schlep together all the Levium that he can and make sure that they will be able to sing something. He asked some people to provide him with scores, and they go from what they have from David HaMelech, and they bring things together, and there comes the first Hallelujah, Mimizach Shemesh Al Mevo, Yehuda Hashem Hashem, and finally the Shechina is back, and the Beis Hamikdash is cleansed, and they're going to celebrate that Pesach here at this point. Moshivi Akeret Habayit Ema Banim Smecha Hallelujah. And now it's Pesach, of course. B'tzeit Yisrael mi Mitzrayim. Haita Yehuda lekodsho Yisrael mamshalotav. In other words, you see that it's so wonderful, so clear that that was the occasion for it. It was brought. It doesn't fit to do that earlier than Rechavam and Yerovam, So it must have happened around that time when they put it together. Okay, so Harim Rakdu Elim Givayis Kivnetzon, and so on and so forth. Now, there was a time when we are not very proud of. Atzabeim Kesef Ezahav Masi Yedei Adam. Remember when Atalia and all those bad Ovdei Avodah Zorah were there? How terrible it was in those days, and Naim Lahem Velo, and so on and so forth. Now, but now, Beis Aaron, how does it? No, Ezram Maginam. Beis Aaron Bitru Badonai, Ezram Maginam. Beit Halevi Bitru. Yisrael Bitru Badonai, Ezram Yirei Adonai Bitru Badonai, Ezram Maginam. Who there are now some people who are not Jewish, who are also feeling that there's something great happening there, and that the Beis Hamikdash is a very special place, because there were some people who were known as Yirei Hashem, and they were known in Greek, Trumfo boy, meaning those people, and now we are getting again a whole bunch of people of those Yirei Hashem, who are not Beis Aharon, they're not Beis Halevi, they're not Beis Yisrael, but they're coming together to be with us, right? And they're all saying, Ki le'olam chazdo, Ki le'olam chazdo. So there's a short Ki le'olam chazdo, and there's a long Ki le'olam, the Halel HaGadol, the big. And then comes before that, Ma'ashiv l'Adonai kol tag maloya Allah, you know. Et halech lifnei Hashem be'arzot hachayim. I hear the king saying that, you know, the Levium singing to that. And finally, the whole community together says, Ana Hashem Oshiana, Ana Hashem Oshiana, Aslichana. And then, finally, at the end of this whole wonderful service, all the people are marching around the altar, Isru Chag Be'avotim Atkanus HaBizbeach, and they're all saying, Eli Ata Ve'odaka Elahayra Meka. Now, I tried to depict this now so that we could see this as an occasion that actually happened. It's not only in the siddur, you know. And it gets very exciting, okay. So, they have one day, they have the nest, they make the Halil Vehoda. Amar Rav Kahana. Darash Rab Nosson Bar Maniu Memishmei Rab Tanchum. Ner Shel Hannukah She'enicha Lemala Me'esrim Ama Psula Kesukom Vechem Avoy. If you want to make an eruv, there has to be a string. But if the string is higher than Esrim Amma, which would be about 40 feet, then you're not paying attention to it anymore. Because Leman Das Kol Amiharetz and Leman Yedu Dorotechem, and if the Sukkah Schach is higher than 40 feet, you don't pay attention to them, you don't feel that the Schach is there, you're not aware of that, okay? So therefore, the same with the Hanukkah candle, if it is higher than 20 amot, then it doesn't count. You are not Yotzi, okay? Now, but remember what he has said before, that you put it into the window. And so many high-rise places are there, you put it in the window. When we go on the street today, we are aware of this thing. Look at the neon signs that are higher than 40 feet, and it's made so we should be aware. So I think I would argue at this point with Reb Tanchum and say that if you live higher than 40 feet, you can still light the candle. Now, Ner Chanukah mitzvah lahanicha bepetach.
Surely he's talking about another case.
Huh?
He's talking about another case. Isn't he? Is he not talking about another case in which you light it and it's 40 feet up, but you're living down here?
That's right.
It's not in your window where it's at eye level with me, and people in the street may or may not see it.
Sure.
So it's like living in the sukkah. It's
Sure. That's how we would have to speak about the thing right now and say, yes, enochaname. You know, that's what gives us the opportunity wherever we are, because we are not putting it in a place where we would not see it anymore. You know, so it's already something that we would become aware of. Thank you very much. Next. Yeah. Ner Chanukah mitzvah lanicha betefach hasmucha lepetach. It should be close to a handbreadth to the door. Vehechemonachle. At which side do you put it near the door? Rabache berei the Rava Omar miyamin. You put it at the right side. Rav Shmuel medifte Omar mismol. Put it at the light. Vehilchese, and the rule remains mismol. It's on the left. Now, what does this say? It says, don't forget, mezuzah is the oraita. It's part of the Shema every day. Yamin, you have to give more covet too. And that should be on the small, so that it doesn't take away from the higher mitzvah, which is the mezuzah. This is the pshat. because it's the same reason that you cover the challah before you make Kiddush, in order not to shame the challah. And what does it mean in order not to shame the challah? Because B'Priyagofen and Hamotzi Lechem Minoros is what you say a whole week, and Todir V'She'ena Todir Kodim, that which you do all the time should get first recognition, that which comes only periodically should come later. But since Yayin is Yesamach Levav Enosh and so on and so forth, special for Kiddush, you cover the challah not to shame the challah, okay? So you have that, you see where Mezuzah Miyamin Hannukah Mismol comes from originally, okay.
Can I ask
Yeah.
one more thing? This mitzvah is very difficult for me. Why? Like you described how wonderful it is that you go out and you have these special little boxes with chimneys and you light outside and you gather around the family and it's freezing cold and the snow's coming down and you quickly say the bracha and you run inside and that's it. The Hannukah is outside and you're sitting inside. Ma kesher. And I always found that very, very odd. Especially in the light of Rav Kuna, it says, you know, if it's so high and you're not going to see it, what if it's outside the house and you don't see it?
Right. The answer to this one is that you always have another one inside. It's really true.
But you have to.
I must have at least 4 or 5 menorahs in the house. There's the electric menorah that I have with the colored candles. I go according to Beis Hillel, because Beis Hillel in the Havdalah says there are many colors to light. Beis Shammai says, according to Beis Shammai, you say Bare Ma'or Ha'esh, not Me'ore Ha'esh, because only one candle for Beis Shammai. There's only one light. So the Beis Shammai menorah is going to be all white candles, you know, and not colored candles. And one goes down and the other one goes up, and then we have it around the table where we eat and so on and so forth, so that we have many menorahs. But I think you're right on this Indian. But if you think that Lav Dafke wasn't so cold either, and I don't know about high rises in the streets that we have today, but if I think how it must have been, let's say in Pekin at one point, okay? So the likelihood is that people would loiter in the streets and they would go and look at each other's menorahs, you know what I'm saying? It's like Lahavdol, the decorations, you know? Because look how the Sfardim still do today with the lulav, you know, with golden things around it and so on and so forth. So I think people would have gone by menorah looking, you know, and not the menorah parade.
You know, in Tel Aviv,
yeah,
one of the big skyscrapers there, I mean, not that big skyscrapers, big buildings, so they arrange the lights of the offices to form
like a menorah.
And they come on every day, and that's over 40, but the whole city sees it.
That's so wonderful,
Wow.
Yes.
They like
that's why the
one special one every night and then 2 the next night.
That's right.
3.
The office windows are all made into pixels of a Hannukah.
Great idea.
So that's why the Chabad people are so clear that the first year after the Soviet Union fell, they already had Rav Lazar there and gotten a big menorah up in the center of Moscow and so on and so forth. I can understand where they come from. Okay.
So Reb Zalman, what if you live in the mountains like I do and nobody lives around you? Then it
And
doesn't.
what?
If you live in the mountains like I do and no one lives around you, then.
Well, you have seen the star that they put there on the mountain here?
No, I'm saying for my house. Then does it matter if it's in the window?
For the deer.
For the deer.
Are you only going to light one menorah?
No, I light several.
So then put one in the window.
For the dinner.
All right, next.
There.
But I want to go back to the business about the small, okay?
Yeah.
If you look at the Sfirot, what is the small is Hod. Now you remember that there's the issue about Yom Kippur being Keter, Chochmah Bina being Rosh Hashanah, the 2 days, Chesed, Pesach, Gevurah, Shavuos, Sukkot is Tiferet, Netzach is Purim, Tiloso Yison Netzach, and Lehodos or Lehalel is in Hod, and therefore it's on the left. Moreover, Chesed is Avraham, Gevurah is Yitzchak, Yaakov is Tiferet. It's Miriam, Leah, and Chana. Then there's Rivka and Sarah, and Sarah is in Hod. Again, so you have Aaron in Hod, and the Hashmonaim, the Kohanim, Al Yedei Kohanei HaKadoshim in Hod, and then you also have Sarah in Hod, the priestess. And with that kind of a thing, you can see that the left is here and is not unimportant. It belongs. So there's a piece in the Zohar which we're going to look at some other time that starts saying about Ad matai nekum be'kiyuma dechad bar samcha. How long are we going to stand on one foot, says Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, complaining. Says it's time we should stand on 2 feet. Okay? And what's the other foot we are not standing? Is kol hayom hidava. As long as we're in galut, it's like she's menstruous, or she has a flow that doesn't stop. Kol hayom hidava. The Shechina is tamei in this sense, okay? And dava is the same letters as hod. And when hod got scrambled, it became dava. It's like oneg and nega. You get that? And we got to fix that up. So some of the stuff about Hannukah, putting it there, is to bring back the hod, okay? And so what you will often hear, the sermons that used to be about the holiness of beauty and the beauty of holiness, okay? With the Greeks, they would say it was the holiness of beauty. With us, it is the beauty of holiness. Those were Reformed sermons given in the 30s all over the United States. Okay. Now, let's see. Amar Reb Yehuda Amar Reb Asa. Amar Rav. Asur lahartzot ma'od keneget ner Hannukah. If you are going to do money changing, money counting, you mustn't do it by the Hannukah light. Amar Reb Huna bereid Reb Yeshua Chazina I hadloka is a mitzvah madlikim mener lener. If you say that the whole mitzvah is that, and here comes this, a whole machloikas now, okay? Is it the lighting that does it, or is it the placing of the menorah that does it? If it is the lighting, then you can light from one candle to the other, and it's not asur to light from one candle to the other. Moreover, if it's gone out, you have to go back and light it again, because it's staying lit is what the mitzvah is about. Vi hanocha is a mitzvah, but if you say placing it is what constitutes the mitzvah, ein madlikim ner lener, then you mustn't light from one to the other, because ein lana rishut lishtabesh b'hem. There was a saying in Galicia that I think it was one Rebbe who was saying, I'd much rather be a shamus than a Hannukah lichtel. So they asked him, why do you say that? He says, because there are some people, they shine, they're beautiful, but can't have any use from them. And I'd much rather be a shamus, so that you can light miner lener, you know, that people can have a use from me, rather than be this kind of archetypal saint that has no, okay, got that?
Yeah.
The boilahu, if they were to ask him, Adloka is a mitzvah, Anocha is a mitzvah, they asked him this, is it the placing of it or is it the lighting? Toshama, come, let's figure it out. Doma Rava, Hayatafuz ner Hannukah v'oimed lo tasa v'lo klum. If he was, the Hannukah candle is standing and is being set, and he doesn't do anything more, we learn from that the business is placing. From otherwise, we would have said lahaniach ner Hannukah. You know, you see how they're arguing. I can see them in a hot debate about it. How could you? That's a narishkeit. How could you say such a terrible thing that Hanocha is a mitzvah? Why do you say the bracha lahadlik ner Hannukah? You know. So now he has to give him an answer. Shma minor. Now we have already said, because you say the bracha lahadlik ner shel Hannukah hadloka does it, and therefore you have to relight it again, and therefore you can use its light. What happens? Hidlika cheresh vekotten. if someone who is not compos mentis, who is not considered to be a full person, lights the Hanukkah candle, los of klum. Now we have already talked about who can we count on, whom can we not count on. How about all the mitzvahs I say? Shazman grome, women are patur, right? And isn't Hanukkah a mitzvah shazman grome that time has brought it in? V'hashta amrin ad lokaz emiz badlik rechoshat v'isha v'adai madliko damar Rabbi Yesod ben Levi noshim chayavs b'ner Hanukkah. Why is that? And this is so wonderful because there's always somebody who says, let me find the asmachta to make room for women. What would be if a woman writes a Megillah? Is it kosher to read from? Is it not kosher to read from? After all, she's a woman who has written a Megillah. Shouldn't be kosher to read from, right? I said, how could you say that? Vatichtov Esther. Right? Esther wrote the Megillah. How could you say women can't write a Megillah if Esther is in charge of the Megillah? So he says here the same way. The women were involved, and you have Yehudis and Holofernes in this situation. And that's why we have latkes, because latkes were made with oil and all that kind of stuff, because she made him latkes, and he got very thirsty, and she gave him wine, and it had a mikifin, and he got so verschickert that he didn't even bother her anymore, and then she took the knife and cut off his head. Okay. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, and you will see that if you are mehadrin min mehadrin min mufchar, then you were going to light on a shemen zayid menorah. Hamadlik ner shel Chanukah tzarich levorach. Rabbi Yirmiyah Omer, haroe ner Chanukah tzarich levorach. No, if you say Hannukah is a mitzvah, and the whole business is to see that the Pirsuman is, then if you see it, you should make the bracha. Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Yom Rishon haroi mevorach shtayim, umadlik mevorach sholosh. The one, the first day, he says Shechianu, because the first time he does the mitzvah, and he says She'ason nisim la'avosenu. But the one who is madlik, who is going to be lighting the candle, says Elahadlik ner shel Chanukah. Madlik afterwards, madlik mevor shtayim, veroi mevor achas, which is she'ason nisim la'avosenu. I say lahorinu b'yom ha'im b'zman hazeh. Okay, we've got 5 minutes left. Let's go to this sheet over here, and I'd like to go over the Al Hanisim text now, and then the Mosur. Bimei Matityahu Kohen Gadol Hashmonayu Vanav. That's the same as it is. Keshe'amda alei Malchut Antiochus Harosha instead of Malchus Yovan Harosha. Ubikesh la'akor et emunatenu v'datenu v'hetzeru lanu v'chavshu et hechalenu v'timu et migdashenu. Az kamu negdam chasidecha v'choanecha. ואתה ברחמך הרבים עמדת להם בעצרתם, רבת את ריבם, נקמת את נקמתם, והיית בעזרתם להתגבר עליהם ולטהר את המקדש. מתוך געגועים להשראתך רצו להדליק את המנורה התורה, ולא מצאו שמן עד שהורית להם שמן טהור. What does it mean when the menorah was lit? Okay? Remember, the Aptarov is put in the thing that the Mishkan came alive when the Shemen HaMishcha was rubbed all over, yeah? And when the menorah was lit, it starts broadcasting. Now, could you imagine, we had that today we would have a broadcast. We have so many broadcasts going through as cell phones and all kinds of radio messages and what have you. But could you imagine, there was this kind of electronic silence in the air. And there would be coming out a beacon like the people who fly in an airplane, you know? They get a beacon. As long as they're on track, it goes beep, 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 beep. And if it goes beep, 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 they're off the track, they have to go back on the beacon, you know. So a beacon, if a beacon would be coming from a place of Kedusha, and we would be able to guide our life by that, how wonderful that would be. Now, for a long time, the signal had gotten loused up because a chazar was offered on the Mizbeach. It's like, could you imagine, it's like a bug on that beacon, a message would come. And so they're cleaning it up. So now they're saying, Oy Gewalt, can we hear that beacon again? So they don't want to wait for 7 more days until more oil will be done. ולא מצאו שמן, עד שהורית לנו שמן טהור ליום אחד. בביטחון הדליקו את המנורה, ואתה עשית להם נס ופלא. והשמן לא הפסיק עד שעשו מחדש. וקבעו 8 ימי חנוכה אלו להדליק נרות, לפרסום הנס, להודות בהלל לשמך הגדול והקדוש, על ניסיך ועל נפלאותיך ועל ישועתך. והנהיגו לתת צדקה לעניים ושעשועים לילדים. And that is more reflective of where we are today, and that's why I want to make sure you have that.
Can I ask a question? Can you translate this Hasidically now?
What? Or go through the whole business?
Well, part of it, just, you know, what is it as a Hasidic drosh now? What is Matityahu? What is that? Who rose against that?
Why could I go into this geschäft? Anti-Yichus. You know? Saying, Kol Zman we can say we're children of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That's our Yichus, Elokeinu v'Elokei Orenu. But they were anti-Yichus, you know. Bikish lakot emunatenu v'datenu. And you hear that very much because that Russia lives inside of us too. Every once in a while saying, you know, Maha avoda azot lachem, what do you want to bother with this geschäft? And v'timu et mikdashenu, and I want to tell you, sometimes you try to daven and segeit nicht, and you feel like, you know, you're spinning your wheels, nothing is really happening, and you feel like, oh, if there was a mikveh for mind, for consciousness, how you'd like to go into that mikveh at this point. So v'tahir libeinu le'ovdecha be'emes, right? V'az kamu negdam chasidecha ve'kohanecha, and here you go with, you can't do it straight. You have to go with a certain generosity, you know? You don't, chasidecha, kohanecha, you know, kohen ish hachesed. Berachmecha rabim, you can't do it alone. The Rabbi Shalom helps them. Amadan beit saratam. I remember once I came to one of my mashpiyim and told him that was during the time I was working in the fur factory, and I would feel from time to time temptations. I'm a yeshiva bocher. On the wall there are Vargas used to paint beautiful women, you know, without any clothes on, right? And they were hanging out all around here, and I, yeshiva bocher, I'm going crazy trying to sew fur in that place. So I come to my mashpia, and I say, it's so hard for me. The battle is going on constantly, Yetzar Tov, Yetzar Ra. She says, you know what? While you're working on the sewing machine, lock up the Yetzar Tov and the Yetzar Ra, you know, and just carry on. Pay attention to the other thing. Don't get involved in feeling that fight. Leave it to the Rabbi Shalom to do that fighting. Ve'ata berachmecha rabim, amanta lehem be'ezratam. Ravta et rivam lekam ve'yita ve'ezratam lehitgaber alehem. Because be'ezratam, you know, God didn't do it for me at that time. I had to do it myself, but I couldn't have done it myself. I didn't have sufficient strength. Okay. So on, you can go on and do the rest of it. Okay. Now, Maos Sur, let's do a quick round through that. My salvation stronghold fort, praising you is such delight. Build your house of prayer, Lord, cleansed from idols after fight. You came to our assistance when we gave resistance. persistence. Then we sang a hymn of thanks for your AIDS persistence. Then we sang a hymn of thanks for your AIDS persistence. Ramparts, pyramids, and forts Egypt had us built for them. We found no justice in their courts when they drowned our children with grace beyond all measure. You redeemed your treasure to split the sea to help us flee. Now Pesach is our pleasure. Dear to us your temple was, still we could not tarry there. Babylon's superior mass exiled us we knew not where. We drank that poisonous potion, were moved in that commotion. When we turned, we were not spurned, but gave you our devotion. Keen was Haman's hate for us when he was in power. He vowed slaughter, death to us, expecting us to cower. To pride he kept clinging, while on the gallows swinging. On that tree meant for me, Haman wound up swinging. And now finally, Yevonim Nikbetzu Alai, Ionian, Hellenist, and Greek did defile our holy place. God did aid the faithful meek, who gave the enemy the chase. They found no meaning when they found in cleaning, in their toilsome pure oil, Hannukah's beginning. Holy aid extend to us, and bring the end of exile soon. When the foes oppress the just, you did protect us from dire doom. In an exiled hour, at our darkest hour, Edom Dwayne lost his reign, make our shepherd flower. Edom Dwayne lost his reign, make our shepherd flower. So next week in Yesod Hashem we're going to learn that other sheet that we couldn't get to today. And all this will be in preparation of Hannukah. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos.
Shabbos.